Good afternoon, Lagos. This is your host, Odo Emmanuel, and today I have my guest in the house, the most anticipated. Yeah, I have Femi in the house. Femi, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel.
Yeah, today we're going to be looking at a very beautiful topic. So before I start, of course, this is Lagos Lagoon Radio, and of course, we are broadcasting live from our Marina studios. We encourage you to go through our social media handles, our platforms, and join the conversation. Today is going to be very, very exciting. I can promise you that today is going to be engaging because we have Femi in the house. Femi is like an archive of knowledge. He knows almost everything. So I'll just allow him do most of the talkings today. Yeah, so follow us on all our social media platforms. We have Facebook, which is Lagoon Radio Nigeria, and Twitter and Instagram, which is Lagoonradio.Ng. Of course, you can watch us live from our YouTube channel, which is Lagoon.TV, and from optimal, up-to-date information, please go through our website, which is Lagoon.News. Of course, I'm your host, Odo Emmanuel, and today I'm so excited. Very, very excited because today is going to be very, very informative. A lot of information will be thrown out to us. And just, tag along as we go on. And it's just 7 minutes past the hour of 1. And so we'll just go straight to this topic. So, Femi.
Yep.
Yeah, a little intro about yourself. Just give us like a top-level intro of yourself. Then we'll now go into the main matter of the day.
Okay. I hope I can catch up with your excitement.
Yeah, sure.
So like you said, my name is Olumakaiye. I've been within the startup scene, for a while. We've been basically curating activities around that space for about a decade now or more, since 2011. So what do I do actually? I have a background in media and communication. I'm a content creator, if you put it that way. So with that, I have background experience with in journalism.
Yeah.
I've worked with some of the big names in the newspaper space. And also I freelance. Many of my works are actually from freelance activities. So that gives me that understanding. That journalism background makes me want to basically curate information and knowledge around the space. So when I say 2011, that was when I decided to now go into the startup scene as a startup founder myself. So that's why why I came into this space.
Yeah, so that means I'm talking to the right person. Of course, there's been a lot of buzz about startups, so I would like you to show, throw more light with regards to what is a startup or what is a company. Can you differentiate between a startup and a full-fledged company, so that at least those who don't understand what we're talking about to have a first level understanding of what is a startup?
Okay.
And what does it entail?
Okay. So there is no one answer fit all for anything. So it's the same with this.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give any textbook definition of it.
Yeah.
So a startup business essentially talks about a business that is not yet publicly quoted.
Okay.
It's not out there in the open for the whole. It may be open, but the idea of a startup is within the space of one just incubation period, between the space of, say, when the idea came, ideation, to the time when you actually execute that concept.
Okay.
And then you are now bringing the concept into the marketplace. So it depends on the startup founder and also the support he or she gets. So it makes that process. So the process can be as short as few weeks, and it could be as long as few years. So it depends mostly on the founder as well as his extraneous circumstances around him.
So you mean if I have a website now and I have a laptop, that means automatically I'm now a co-founder, or I'm now a tech startup?
Oh, okay. That's a good angle to it. So there's that would be a misconception. So people think that because they have a website and an idea, it makes them a startup owner. Oh, sorry, it's not like that.
Kind of.
It is not like that. So the real startup. So by the time when you call you a startup owner, a startup founder, means that this is now something that you really want to do. You have a proof of concept.
Yeah.
You've shared it with a number of people.
Yeah.
Some of the startup actually they go through what we call and I like the fact that this ecosystem supports that. That's what we call the hackathons.
Okay.
Basically a brainstorming session where people come around, share their ideas, find supporters. So the whole concept of startup is for people to also see the concept that you have in your head and say, yes, I like it, I vibe with that. Let's make it work. So getting people to work with you is one of the fundamentals in startups.
Yeah.
So if you are just alone, struggling with yourself, with your laptop, with your idea. Some people have ideas that they've been nursing for the past. I can give example of someone who has idea. He's been nursing for. He just have the idea. He just have the concept. He carries it about. He nurses it, and he's been doing that for the past 6 years.
Wow.
So and he hasn't done anything about it.
Wow.
So we can't call that a startup. It's just idea.
Just
do you understand? Yeah, just idea. So when we can now call it a startup when you have thought through the process, you now take it beyond idea, you execute it, meaning that you create processes for this idea to come into the marketplace, whatever idea it is. It could be a product or a service. Okay. It goes beyond you alone fantasizing about it, and now taking it to the society. And how do you get that? You get that by your friends and foes, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Giving you feedback, someone coming to you say, let me be part of what you are doing and all that. So that's when you become a startup. And if that idea is really good, you get support not only from your friends and foes, you also get from family, and also from people you don't know. So you can get investors.
Yeah,
that's
no, to get to that point, I just want to take it a step at a time.
Yeah.
Get to the point of investment and how you can attract investors with your startups.
Okay.
So good. At least there's a clarity in what we're talking about now. At least we understand the fundamentals, what it means to be a startup. It's not just you carrying your laptop up and down, just have a website and you think, yeah, you're good. And the idea is just in you. It's just there. Nobody understands your vision. Nobody understands what you're doing. Yeah. So there's that need for that clarity. You being able to understand the difference between and the ideation stage and actually having a proof of concept, because that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And
it goes beyond that, because there are two factors towards this thing. You need to have a business plan, of course, that will be very, very detailed. You have your two parts. You have your financials and your non-financial goals.
Yep.
Your projections for like 5 years. So of course, those things are based on projections. They are not actual figures, because of course we know you're just new into the business. You need to understand. You need to have your minimal viable product.
Oh, sure.
That you're rolling out with.
Oh, sure.
So basically, then when you do your proof of concept, you hit the streets.
Yep.
You get early users, early adopters to be able to test your solution if it's going to be scalable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before you start talking to investors is like the stage 3 of talking about being a full-fledged startup.
Yeah.
So it's not just waking up and just have an idea and you think that's it. Yeah, I have an idea. This idea, it's gonna make.
No, idea is actually the least part of the startup. System. It's there are ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen. There are so many ideas. Execution is the main.
It's very key. Yeah, execution.
Yep.
Because having an idea, for crying out loud. You're not the only one thinking about that thing.
Sure.
So you have like a million people thinking about those things.
You can bet.
Another thing I just discovered is, a lot of people just think about see the startup thing as just I don't know the right word to use to maybe express this. They just think maybe you just have an idea. They don't really understand that you need to understand the business around it. Every idea has its own sales secret.
Yep.
Every business has its own sales secret. It has its own. So you need to do your due diligence. You need to research, understand your market, understand the target. You need to know if it's going to be a niche market or a mass market.
Yeah. You
need to understand the problem that you're solving, because it's all about problem solving. If people like Bill Gates, they solve the $1 billion problem.
So I get perfectly. I mean, you basically are doing. We're having a conversation. So I mean, but so there's a difference. And the idea of startups, it now looks like a very funky thing to do to a lot of people. When they see the guys who are representing the startup ecosystem, the way they dress. Some people like that idea that I have my own free time. Yeah. I can do whatever I want at whenever I want.
Really? Is it really like that?
No, I mean, I'm just giving that's the impression. Yeah. That's the impression people think the people have, that this is what startup is about, but it's not. It's far, far beyond that. So yeah, I mean, the reward is massive, but you have to put in the work. All the guys we reference now, if they tell you the insane amount of effort they put in when they're about starting the business, the idea, sometimes they get a lot of rejections. Sometimes they even doubt themselves. They just felt, well, am I sure I'm doing the right thing? But they just kept pushing, and then they eventually they scale through. Yeah, it's a process. It's not just for idea you get your 1 billion valuation. No, it doesn't work not like that.
Recently, last week we saw some of these tech startups that raised a lot of money around. I think it was I can't remember, about I'll talk about later. Yeah. So some of them, sometimes last week they were able to raise funding. So they went through the around C process, and they were able to raise up to like $20 to $30 million last week. Yeah. So it means it's a very lucrative venture or enterprise or space, if I may use that word.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, in the last 2-3 years, the numbers have been really, really
it has been going up
they're like seriously crazy. And if you just oppose that with the rate of the naira at the moment, if you now do the valuation in naira, it becomes crazy numbers, right? Yeah. So but the thing is that it's a global village, right? Okay. So the people investing, they don't look at the local currency. They invest based on the numbers of potential customers, and that's the whole concept.
So this brings me to this question. My fear is, for instance, maybe I go through the startup process, and maybe for instance, I was supposed to talk about the incubation hubs around Lagos, Nigeria, where the startups can actually go and get the kind of support they need for their businesses, maybe expertise, maybe in terms of cash, maybe in terms of material support, maybe in terms of intellectual support and stuff like that. So, but my fear is, for instance, now because I believe when you're raising funds from investors, you do a projection. They look at your books, they look at your financials, they look at your goals, they look at your projections, your 5-year plan, they look at your financials, the 5-year financial goals, 10-year financial goals, they look at those prospects. And it's based on your books. Yep. They evaluate you, and they try to give you what they think is appropriate for your business to scale. Yep. So what my fear is, for instance, now, if I was evaluated at maybe to be $1 billion company as of last year, when the dollar was like 4.14, 4.20, and now the dollar is 5.30. Yep. How would you manage to fit into? Because of course it means that you're going to be losing a lot of money. Because I'm sure you're going to be paying your investors in dollars.
Yeah. And that is one of the challenges. I mean, if you want, we can immediately go into the challenges of being a startup owner in Nigeria. I think there are so many reasons why you shouldn't be a startup founder in Nigeria. But there are also so many reasons why you should be.
Okay.
So it's like the yin yang, the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
They always work together.
Okay.
Synchronous. So the reason why you keep seeing investors come into Nigerian space is that they see a lot of prospects in this country. And Nigeria is bubbling with, over 60% of Nigerian population are youth within the space of that innovative space of their life when they can do things, they can actually get things done. So that's why it's really bubbling. It's a very fantastic. You did mention some spaces where startups they can go and get things done. And it brings me back to why are we where we are now at the, in this space of our startup ecosystem development. The evolution started over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, some of the facilitators for this ecosystem are the hubs. But the hubs are not the only one. There are private investors also. There were.
Yeah, venture
capitalists, even angel investors.
Yeah.
I remember the first startup weekend done in Nigeria was the Lagos Startup Weekend, 2011. It was a very fantastic, and some of the ideas pitched then, I believe some of them they might have changed nomenclature,
of course,
the concept, the real concept of those pitches have evolved into real business. It was around that time that even the CCO of today were just starting up around in Yaba, starting up with what they called then developers Parapo, which was basically a gathering of developers. It was just like an avenue for developers, coders. It was a new concept basically, but people were really excited about the concept of just coming together. So that's why they call it Parapo. So those developers Parapo, people come around, talk, share ideas. They have product showcase, and then it led to what we now call hackathons.
Okay.
And some of the hackathons then produced. So we have education focused hackathon.
Okay.
We had governance focused hackathon, civil space focused hackathon. If I can mention a few of them, one of the hackathons in education was Efiko.
Okay.
Efiko app.
Maybe.
So the Efiko app eventually has evolved. From that app alone, so many iterations has happened. So many new ideas have happened over time. We have prep class. I can mention so many names, so many new innovation from that original concept.
Okay.
And then from the civil space, we have the concept around monitoring government expenditure.
Okay.
And that's where budget came out from. So it was just a coinage of budget IT. Budget using innovating the budget with technology. So the fusion of name, our guys Shehu and his friend, they came up with that concept. Could you believe that budget did not win the hackathon that they participated in? They did not win the hackathon, but their budget is an institution today.
Yeah, sure.
It's an institution. It serves so many states in Nigeria, and it is putting government on its toe, right? Just from one idea. And that's the power of idea, and we've seen it over time. The concept comes from just one space, and it has blossomed. So back to the issue you mentioned about funding, and how do you account to your funders, who are your investors? They put money, they invest money in you, and then over a short period, that money is almost devalued.
Yes, it becomes a serious issue.
Yeah, you just have to bear with it. So what some founders do, and I've learned from some of their, is that they have a series of negotiation. They keep having negotiation with their investors. And some of these things are also written down, like part of their agreement in starting this process, knowing the
nomenclature of Nigerian
exactly
space, that
knowing the Nigerian space is so volatile.
Yeah.
There's so many things that, I mean, as part of our conversation, you see some of the topics
The
we
threats.
raise. I mean, some of the
Yeah.
threats about even regulators can be a threat to you.
yeah,
The
sure.
environment, the power is a threat.
To businesses in Nigeria.
Power supply. I mean, we did talk about some of the guys who are brandishing just a website and claiming to be startup founder.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's not because they don't want to scale. It's because the environment is stifling. It's stifling the innovation in them. In many countries of the world, many advanced countries of the world, the guy you call a startup founder, he just need to have the idea. The environment
Enabling environment
is
has been made.
enabled for him. So he doesn't think about how do I pay to register my business, for instance.
Yes.
That is sorted. How do I power my laptop to work, to even innovate on the idea?
Get internet access.
Internet is sorted. The space to work from is sorted. So if you sort all those issues,
And you can even get grants, startup grants. Or
absolutely,
uptake grants.
absolutely. I know. I mean, I've interacted with so many. Friends from other parts of the world, and they tell you that there's a guaranteed startup fund for ideas. So you come, you pitch your idea, and then you get the funding, not for you to spend on yourself. And if you actually talk to some of the frustrated Nigerian startup founder, they were really innovating, but they just needed that push. They needed a little push to take them to the next level, which they never got. Yeah. So
we had some of this experience.
Oh, sure. So that's the space. Yeah.
Man, this country, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been an easy road. We're starting as a startup in Nigeria because, there are so many things there are so many challenges. We can't even start to name all of them because if we start to go through that route, then we're not going to end these shows. We'll just keep talking about problems rather than seeing the opportunities, rather than seeing the positive side of it. Because even as we speak, there are so many startups who are still getting funded up to date. So the excuses are not even allowed.
Yep.
You get so now this brings me to government regulation, because for like some couple of months ago, we've been hearing about rumors about government coming in to come and regulate the space, because we've seen that it's like the startup is not the new gold or the new oil in Nigeria, because the way these startups are really pulling in investors. You see, in Nigeria now, the hottest business is this startup business, because a lot of investors are seeing potentials in this country, even if our government or the so-called elites or our politicians are not seeing the value in us. We ourselves, we know that we have something, because I believe necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
So I think they've pushed us to the wall to an extent that in our sorrows, we've started creating opportunities. Like, if you watch those startups, they never had any government backing.
Yep.
These are just guys who just came up with these ideas, and they passed through the burning surface of Nigeria's space, especially in terms of regulations. So this brings me to this point. We have this National Information Technology Agency that's supposed to regulate the technologies or the startup space. And we've been hearing a lot of things that they want to. In fact, they are reviewing the set policies that has been existing now. They need to now factor a lot of things into the new setup, and there was so many controversy, a lot of rumors. I don't know if you could share more light on it, and maybe you just enlighten some of our viewers on these key points.
Okay, I mean, some of the things you mentioned, like I was just flowing with your conversation just now, and you said the guys who have innovated and who are doing things, they did it in spite of the challenges. And that's usually the real thing about innovators.
Yeah.
Look at all the innovators in the world. They don't wait for backing. They don't expect support from any. In fact, the only thing government should do is to just give an enabling environment. Just allow people to innovate and to thrive. Of course, you regulate, and the regulation should be that you are doing things that can help the industry, but not you regulate in this with the intention of killing the industry.
But with this new bill, what it's saying is, I don't think they are really giving room space for companies to try, because it means that the NIDTA has the sole power now to, according to this, the so-called proposed amendment bill that they want to pass. So they give you the sole right to, they decide who's going to be a technology company or who's not going to be a technology company, which is going to kill creativity, because I believe government policies should enable business environments, enable businesses to thrive. You can't just be coming up with policies that will be stifling or push these guys. Number one, we already have issues with people, a lot of excuses for us not to even scale in the first place, because we talk about lights, talk about road network, we talk about poor internet penetration, a lot of things, a lot of factors. Yet the innovators or the startup guys are still pushing. They are not giving up. Then you now come up with a policy that is going to even kill them finally. I don't think is this the right approach, that a government who is not even creating a platform, then you're not killing the businesses? I don't know.
I'm trying very hard to hold my my thoughts and my emotion to keep it in place. Truly,
it's very painful.
Nigeria. Some people say Nigeria is designed to just kill you.
I guess I'm telling you, because
see,
it's insane.
We've just mentioned some few things, right? Few moments ago.
Yeah.
You just need to be in other places, and if you are a Nigerian, you automatically do well. You just excel. You do well, because you are not thinking about somebody trying to frustrate your effort.
Imagine.
Now, most of the companies most of the startups we mentioned in Nigeria, we talked about. I like the fact that you said, let's not focus on the challenges. Let's look at the opportunities also. But right after you said that, you went back to mentioning the issues.
Because it's painful. Okay,
it is frustrating to be a founder in Nigeria. It is frustrating.
About 3 days ago, CBN came up with this e-money. I don't know if
I know
heard of it.
Oh,
and they partnered with a foreign tech company.
Oh, sure.
Like, I was like, for crying out loud, why will a government do such a thing?
The same CBN that banned cryptocurrency, which is something that they are now embracing.
After the world has left us.
From the how do we put it now? From the back door, right?
Yeah. And there are so many tech startups who are even thriving in that space.
Let me just address a few things, like some of the things you mentioned earlier. The opportunities are enormous, and the most important thing about opportunity is our numbers in Nigeria.
Sure, yeah.
So we have a very large population.
Okay.
That population is mostly young and urban population, or semi-urban, or people who are prospecting to be based in urban centers. Upwardly mobile people. They are looking for opportunity, so they keep innovating. They keep thinking of what to do, how to make life better, things like that. So you can't go wrong with that kind of a population. What has that done to this ecosystem? Is that we have at the moment we have close to 170 million SIM registrations.
Okay.
Can you imagine what that means? It means
serious business.
SIM registrations in Nigeria over 160 million. So, and most of the connection into the cyberspace, into the internet, are done from the mobile.
Yeah, sure.
So, the percentage of mobile to other devices that connect to the internet, mobile is over 80%, close to 90%.
Yeah, true.
So, it means that people are always on the go. They are thinking. So Nigerians are thinking on their feet. Most of the startup guys you mentioned, they are thinking, they are innovating. If you have a very good idea, you are likely to succeed in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And that is why investors will keep coming.
Sure.
Because they know that this country has the number. It has the number, and there's a young population. So they will keep coming and say, how can we innovate this space? What can we do? Now imagine some of the frustration that we have. 3 years prior, 2018, Grokada signed an agreement with the state government around innovating the transportation, the motorcycle transportation in Lagos State. It was in the news. We saw it. They
fantastic idea.
And they had an academy where they trained their riders on how to behave on the road, how to be, observe. And they have an app whereby just like the mobile, the car
brands that do car shuffle and
exactly carpooling. So it was a similar concept, and just about a year after, less than 2 years actually, the whole policy was reviewed
and they killed the business.
And it was said that no Okada, whether recognized, whether branded or not branded, will be allowed to go to ply the roads, including the ones that have met the requirements of government. How do you think that kind of... And they've sunk a lot of money.
Yeah, millions
of dollars into that business. When that new policy came, you could see the desperation, the despondency in that founder. They had over 1,000 or more than 1,500 bikes that met the requirement.
Yeah.
They had all that packed. All the people that they employed, because it was just imagine 1,000 people, 1,000 people, or 1,500 or 2,000 people brought up the street, multiply that, engaged, multiply that.
Active
one
engagement.
of the ladies that was really lamenting about that, she mentioned that a lady doing that Grokada business, she mentioned that she is responsible for her family. She had, I think, whether five siblings and her mother. So six members of a family relying on her. So multiply that by 1,500. Just imagine the number of people that were affected just by a policy of government. Yes, we understand it was a safety consideration, but why didn't you think about that before making the policy and signing the agreement that allowed those guys to sunk in their money into the system? So they brought in their money. Now, what have they done? That's where you see innovators. They have pivoted.
Yeah, sure.
So right now they pivoted into logistics. But the damage has been done. So the optics for many investors is that we are not even sure about that space. That government policy can just wipe our money away any moment. So those are the issues. Now you mentioned NITDA. NITDA is an act. It was established 2001.
Exactly.
Incidentally, the same year that GSM came into the country. And it became an act. It was just a bill as at that time. It became an act in 2007.
Okay.
What was that? Basically, just to oversee the space, the technology space. NITDA means Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency. Basically, just to supervise and regulate. But what have they done? What are we seeing? It's funny, but it's not funny. It's frustrating because earlier this year, I think in March, the DG of NITDA, Kashifu Abdullahi, went to the National Assembly to lobby them. And some of the things he mentioned is that there's a particular comment. It said anybody who has a mobile device has a potential of being monitored. Yes, it's a good standby, but what it has meant and what we are seeing, even from the minister of that that oversee that agency, Pantani, is that look at what we are doing now with our SIM registration, linking it, having all people's database, all that is necessary. But to what end? To what end? To what end? So those questions need to be asked, because what we are now seeing is that the new bill, we have seen some of the new propositions in that new bill, and some of the new propositions are really not nice.
Draconian.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to choose my word.
Yeah, I understand that part. But the truth has to be said. It's not business friendly.
Let me mention a few of them. So, for instance, Section 6 of that new bill says they would test and approve a technology before it is used in Nigeria. So, help me on that. Help me make it right. Let me make sense of it. So, a technology is the world no longer a global village? I just don't. So Nigeria has to wait, like obedient children, for NITDA to first check a technology and use it, and understand it before you now say, okay, it is approved for Nigerians to use. Is that it's done in other parts of the world? That's one of the new. And then Section 13 says, for a business that is that has made over 100 million naira in revenue, they will have to make a contribution, compulsory contribution, because it's not stated that it's voluntary. Yeah. I wish it's stated there that it's voluntary, so the companies can decide I'm not donating. So you have to make a contribution of 1% before tax.
Wow, are you serious? Before tax?
Yeah, you have to make a 1% contribution to a certain funding. Whatever agency they are trying to work, certain somewhere. I don't know what it is. So, how do you expect those businesses to thrive? Please, 1%. If you have, just imagine it.
See, so it brings me to this point. I don't know if these guys in power, they don't really think before they start to propose these laws, because imagine 1% before tax.
Yep.
Means your revenue flow. They don't even consider the cost of sale.
Your cost, your revenue, your
expense,
your expenses, your
logistics, everything.
Yeah, it's in there.
Your capex, your apex.
Yeah, everything is
like
there. So they will take that before you can now.
Then there's no business anymore, because if you pull out 1% out of my business before tax, means that by the time I pay off all my cost of sale or maybe cost of goods sold, by the time I do all my balancing of my sheets, at the end of it, I can never break even. Because if they've pulled it out from, like, let's say the gross, after I've netted, I've done all expense has been paid, then the profit, we can now share 1% out of it. It makes more sense that way.
No,
so after the 1%, I'm still going to pay my tax.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are serious about what they're saying. No, but it's the truth.
So I'm serious. I can see your frustration also.
Then that means I'm not going to be in business. It doesn't make any sense.
This is what we are.
It's not going to fly.
This is what we are talking about.
It will not fly
about Nigerian startup scene.
It doesn't make. See, what's the rationale behind this? It's going to kill that business. That business is not going to see the light of the day.
You know the reason why I am, like I said, I'm from the media part, right? I also have a platform, Entrepreneurs. And when I see some headlines, I have been very, very discreet in how I report this industry, this space. You see, the startups space is not all flashy every time.
Yeah, of course, we know that.
The reason why most of these laws are coming in is because it looks like government guys are seeing that it looks like there's money in this place.
But the truth be told, there's money. Won't dispute that fact. But the money is meant to do something.
No, they don't see it that way. They see that there's money to be taken.
To be taken.
Yes. Now there was an headline by one leading newspaper sometime this year.
Okay.
I think was it late last year or early this year? I think by this day. And it featured a number of young faces, tech startup founders, and the headline was "Tech startup in Nigeria. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something similar.
Okay.
You say the new oil. This is the new oil. This is Nigeria's new oil. Tech startup space. Tell me, any government that sees that say, whoa, so the oil is no longer under the ground.
Yeah.
It's within the taco. Oh, yeah, let's go after them. That's what we are seeing. Because I cannot imagine for the life of me how a thinking and innovative government will want to stifle the space that is innovating, that is trying to employ. I mean,
it's even reviving the economy.
That is it.
Because we're bringing in investors and you're stifling those businesses. You're squeezing the life out of them. Yeah. And so once these guys, just imagine like Twitter ban. Yeah. Do you know how much it's costing us as a nation? Do you know how much the startups who are doing their real business on that platform is losing on a monthly basis? I don't know if the government is thinking, because number one, these guys are not going to pay you tax anymore.
Yeah.
Your revenue flow is going to reduce, because what we're saying is rolling into billions of naira.
Let me give you some numbers around the startup scene, just to tell you why they think that this is where it's happening. Of course, like you said, there's money there, but those money are not free money.
Yeah, of course. It is not free money.
They are
the money that is being accounted
from investors.
Yeah.
Who have labored and they see that there's a huge potential in this space. Mm-hmm. Let's innovate that space. Let's galvanize this space using all the and most of the resources they are using are even also local.
Yes.
So the guys, I mean, we were both at CCOB at some point. I remember that's where we first met, Emmanuel. And some of the guys that we work together in that space, the guys, what's it called? Paystack. I remember Ezra and his friend, Ezra Olubi and his friend. They had a corner when they were building Paystack at that point. That was where the Paystack started. Ezra just had his dread coming up gradually at that point.
Yeah.
I remember even Sheon Nigbide.
Yeah.
At some point, it was at startup. I mean, at CCOB.
Sure.
Even Iyi.
Yeah.
Aboyeji. It was at
Mandela. So what are we talking about?
They grew through the process.
Yeah. So then there was an enabling environment.
No,
there was because we had a place. Yeah. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that
the enabling environment was also even what's it called now? It was private sector driven.
No, but
it wasn't government.
We had a thinking government then. We had a minister that understands.
Oh, sure. Omobola Johnson.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to give it to her.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure.
So then they created an enabling environment for businesses, startups. All these draconian laws or rules weren't being applicable then.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
So
totally.
it still boils back to what we're saying. This government needs to sit down. We're not here to criticize anybody. But when you do the right thing,
I haven't seen any criticism in what we are doing so far.
So they should sit down and critically understand this business nature. Because I remember when the minister was Mobola Johnson, right?
Yeah.
She used to come to CCO then.
Oh, sure.
She will talk to tech startups.
Yeah.
She will look at what you guys are doing. They will start to create opportunities. That was when I think Innovation Hub came up or something.
Of course not.
Yeah, because so when you pre-incubate, you now go to advance to the main incubation.
Exactly. In fact, they even went as far as establishing a similar hub.
Yeah.
Close in the next building, because they saw what was going on. They said this is where things are happening, and because of that kind of drive, it's not what we are seeing that has made that space.
It's not from
recent. It's what has happened over time.
Exactly.
And what we now see is that we have the economy, the numbers. Like I said, I was going to talk startup funding into Nigeria as at 2019 was at as much as $663 million.
Imagine.
I'm sure by now we'll be crossing
close to
$1 billion.
Yeah, 2 billion, of course.
In terms of contribution into the space. How about innovation globally? We're far behind. We're supposed to be much closer, but all the challenges will make us go far behind. We are 117.
Imagine.
As at 2020. In terms of entrepreneurship, we are 101. what is affecting it? Ease of doing business. To the point where I think a parastatal was set up. They call it ease of doing business, something. I've forgotten the real name. Ease of doing business in Nigeria, the ranking, global ranking, we are 131.
Imagine.
Ease of starting a business, we are 105. And I'm sure it is due to what has happened in recent time that we even came to 105.
Imagine.
Because before this time, if you want to start a business, you have to go through hell.
Yeah.
You have to do this, you have to do that. But now, thankfully, the process is almost seamless. It's very easy.
I'll give it to this government in regards to business registration, your corporate affairs. Yeah, the vice president really made a lot of impact in that area. So we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
But my own is where I'm going to fault this government is you cannot be stifling businesses that are just coming up. These startups, for crying out loud, you didn't do anything for these guys to be able to raise this money. Nothing. You didn't create any environment for them. They, out of everything, they still went as far as getting these revenues, getting these monies into those countries.
I blame this day for doing that story. I'm
telling you. As much as we're laughing over it, but
because since that headline, it was a big headline. I wish if I can show you the newspaper headline. It was so big and it shows some faces there. And Government was like, this is where the money is now. Let's go there. And since that moment, a lot of draconian things. Let me mention another two sections in this new NITDA bill. Section 20 and Section 21 says only NITDA can identify which startup can operate. Can identify that a company is a tech startup in the Nigerian space.
Shit.
So, without NITDA, without government acknowledging that you are a startup, you cannot. Basically, what it means is that you cannot operate within the space. So somebody can just say, I don't like this one face.
I don't like his face. Or I don't like his tribe. Maybe it's Igbo, Yoruba.
Or whatever. Yeah. So all these things have to be appealed. And I'm happy that there's something going on. I think we need to mention it before we close. I like the fact that this is being spearheaded by guys in the private sector.
Yeah.
One of the proponents of that startup bill is the co-founder of DIY Law, Funkola Odeleye. Okay. So basically, what they are trying to do, at the moment, in fact, today there will be a town hall in Ilorin.
Okay.
So there's a bill. It's called the Nigeria Startup Bill.
Yeah, sure.
So the Nigerian Startup Bill is being spearheaded by the private sector.
Okay.
So it has gone through the first redeem. They have now going to regions, locations. Yesterday was September 3rd, right?
Yeah.
There was a town hall at Banawa area in Kaduna.
Okay.
So all this will lead to them representing this bill to the National Assembly. This one will now represent the industry demand.
So will this supersede this National Information Technology Development Agency bill, the act that they want to renew, and they are reenacted?
They are different bills. So the NITDA Act is a government agency act, but this one is the industry saying this is how we want the industry to look like. This is how we want it to be regulated.
But won't it be conflicting with this act, the NITDA Act, with the startup bill?
Well, I think by the time they take it to the National Assembly, they will have to ratify them.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to say is these pain points that you highlighted here with regards to some of the
of course, the new bill.
Are they going to review this one? Because there will be conflicting things with regards to these two bills now. This is a separate bill and this is a separate bill.
Yes.
This is championed by the government while this is championed by private business owners. So how will this affect, how will these two bills, because now they are two separate things now.
Yeah.
This is what the government is telling you that they want.
Yes.
And this is the way they want it to be.
Yes.
So I think for me, we should focus on this bill, this NITDA bill. We should kick against it because this thing is going to be killing innovation Imagine if I have a proof of concept, have a minimal viable products that I've come up with, and I need to, I need to do like a test run.
Yep.
So I need to wait for NIDA to approve me before I can even, scale.
Yeah, I see.
And you know how government thing is. Before you get licensed to be able to, it will take you like forever.
So why this conversation now is like we saying this should not go.
No, we're going to follow up on this bill.
This it must not be
scale.
passed.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is that you don't overcome darkness with another darkness, right?
Sure.
So you have to overcome it with light.
Yeah.
So why they need that guy is trying to so we need to get another one that is better, a better bill that the whole Nigerians can support. Because NIDA cannot be the lord and master of that industry.
Yeah.
It's just a regulator. So there's no place in the world where some of these things that they mentioned is done.
It's not done anywhere. It's just in Nigeria. So we shouldn't see the light of the day. I don't think this thing we should follow up on this. And these are the things we need to call the government's attention to it.
Absolutely.
Look, you create an enabling environment for business to thrive. You don't kill businesses. You don't kill startups. Because with this new act, of course, there's no business that will see the light of the day. About 4 days ago, I heard the Nigerian postal agencies doing same too. Postal, all the courier agencies.
I said something earlier. I don't want to repeat it, but Nigeria is designed to kill you.
It's crazy. Why you?
So you just refuse to die.
People, and you're still going to pay tax with regards to all these things that you're doing. Profit after tax.
Yeah.
So this 2% is for what?
I don't know. It's unbelievable.
I think the government should wake up from their slumber and start to do things that are going to help. We are complaining about the coronavirus pandemic that has killed a lot of businesses. And instead of you to be encouraging businesses, you're killing them. I think it's high time we need to hold this government accountable for what they are doing. Create enabling business environments for people to grow. We're not asking you to give us money. Keep your money to yourselves, but just create laws that will help businesses see the light of the day. Because it's not easy. It's not funny anymore in this country.
Yeah. And, I don't know if we have more time, but I just want to say that the whole essence of what we are doing is a sort of advocacy.
Yeah, of course.
What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. And some of the things that we are seeing about trying to stifle the startup industry, the startup ecosystem, it is wrong.
Yeah.
Nigerians have suffered enough. They are innovating in spite of not having all the best tools to survive.
Yeah.
They are still innovating.
Sure.
Don't kill their innovation.
Yeah.
Let them survive.
Yeah. On those notes, thank you, our listeners. The time is so short, and at this point in time, we need to just say thank you for listening. And Femi, do you have a parting word for our listeners?
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. I didn't know the time just flew by. So thank you for having me. Thank you very much, and wish all the listeners a good weekend.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. I still remain your host, Odo Emmanuel. Please follow us on all our social media handles. And for more information, we can continue this conversation on the chat group. So if there are questions or anything you want us to, throw more light or explain or, pushing more information about, please don't hesitate to follow us on all our social media platforms and our websites, Lagoon.News. We love you. Stay at this point. Stay blessed. Till we meet again next week. Bye-bye.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.